My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Well, today we have a very vivid account from the Gospel of St. Luke, the story of the talents, or the parable of the talents. So it's about a nobleman who goes off into a far country, and he tells his servants that he has left behind to engage in trade with the talents that he gives them. As you know the story, he gives each servant a different amount of talents. One he gives 10 talents, and when he comes back, the servant acquired 10 more, another gave 5, and he acquired 5 more, and so forth. And then there's this one servant who he didn't do anything with the talent. He just gave it back to him. He said, he just dug it into the ground. He said, that here you are. I gave you what you gave me, but I didn't trade. And then he, as you know, he's condemned for that because he didn't profit. He didn't multiply the talents that he was given. So it's a very vivid scene, and it's quite easy, I would say, to apply it to ourselves if you look over the parable again, in greater detail. But why? Because it quite easily leads us to a very simple question. And the question is this: what talents have I not developed? Right? Because we all have our abilities, our natural aptitudes, our strengths. But is there a quality or a capacity or just like a natural virtue, an ability that I've kind of not really fine-tuned, or a talent that I've kind of stayed clumsy with and have not really trained or formed or developed? This is a question we have to ask ourselves. It's a very important question, because I imagine this. Imagine you're at your judgment, right? You die, you go to the judgment, and God stands in front of you, and he has his hands out in expectation, kind of asking, and he says to us, so, where's the novel? And we're going to go, novel? Novel? What novel? What do you mean, Lord? What are you talking about? Was I supposed to bring you a novel? And he might say, yeah, I gave you a writing talent. I gave you a certain ability. Did you notice that? I gave you an ability with the pen. Didn't you notice that? I gave you this ability to write an amazing novel full of heroic and inspiring values and artistic values, and it would be deep, yet at the same time it could be a real bestseller, like a page turner. And I thought you could win the Booker Prize with that talent I gave you, or maybe the Pulitzer, or maybe you could even win the Nobel Prize for Literature. I gave you those talents. You had it all within you. It could have been an antidote to the Da Vinci Code that some guy wrote, and with all those errors, right? And so maybe God would be looking at us, and we'd realize, so that's why I had that ability. Okay, those talents, we have to look that those talents that are maybe dormant, and that kind of need to be developed or polished, or just maybe even just plain renovated, right? And better yet, what talents do I have that I've been afraid to develop because of course it takes time, it takes practice, it takes patience, it takes endurance, maybe it takes some grit. And if I even had the slightest inkling of this right now, as I speak to you, Lord, now in this time of prayer, if I have an inkling that there's a talent there that is dormant, well, I have to go and dig it up. And like the talent that the bad servant had, he just put it in the ground. Well, I have to go and dig it up. As of course, it's not that the Lord is just asking us for a book. Maybe it's the talent to cheer people up with a guitar, to learn how to play the guitar. Maybe it's speaking in public. Maybe it's this talent of explaining complicated things at work, or just the talent of being a good manager, or the talent of listening to little children and opening up horizons to them. Maybe it's a flair and originality in apostolic initiatives with your confreres. Lord, is it possible? Is it possible that you gave me a precious seed, and that that you were hoping that I would develop with my freedom and my sense of responsibility, that I learned from my parents, that was furthered at school, and that this seed would grow into a large tree with many branches, and or am I just like a small sapling, barely enough to stand up to the wind? Everybody receives something in this life. We can't just stay frozen and unproductive and unresponsive. A frozen seed doesn't go bad. It doesn't rot, but it's pretty ineffective. It stays sterile. And when I think of sterile, I think of that. I always think of that first point of the Way by Saint Josemaria. It has different translations and different wordings sometimes, but I've always felt upon reading it, it was like an electroshock. When you first read it, it's like a jolt, right? To any faith that one might have that is just simply slumbering along, right? And this is what he says. Slightly different translations, but he says, point number 1 in the Way, he says, don't let your life be barren or sterile. Be useful. Blaze a trail. Shine forth with the light of your faith and your love. With your apostolic life, wipe out the trail of filth and slime left by the impure sowers of hatred, and light up or set aflame all the ways of the earth with the fire of Christ that you bear in your heart. That you bear in your heart. Lord, I know that what I carry in my heart is not merely a personal desire, something that's on sometimes and off other times. It's really this talent that you have entrusted me with. And you're hoping that it'll really grow into something amazing, an amazing tree where birds can take their shade. Or is there anything that I need to dig up? What do I need to dig up in my life? Now, as you know, you probably know that the word talent, was actually an ancient Roman coin of great value, and precisely on account of the popularity of this parable, it has become synonymous with, well, what we say. When we say that he has that talent, this talent, she has that talent, it's a personal gift which everybody is called to develop. And the talent is really a treasure that Jesus has entrusted us with. And we have to dream. I think it's good to dream of that big housing project that we would like to see produced with God's grace. Imagine you're given a plot of land in the city, right? A big city, you get a plot of land. And, well, it could be left as an empty field where garbage piles up and people scribble graffiti, and the city surrounds it with cement blocks, so you can't even park there. Right? And, you see these empty places in the city. Or you could see the needs for a place. You could see, okay, maybe we could build an arena for kids to play hockey, or a proper seniors home, or a soup kitchen, or a decent looking apartment, or maybe a greenhouse. I don't know, something, a good project. But that will require some negotiation, some fundraising, other complications and stuff. But it has to be useful, and it's as though God doesn't want us mere passivity or the safety of not taking risks in life. But I've always wondered, why did that third servant, that last bad servant, dig a hole in the ground and stick the talent he had received in a napkin? And why did he do that? Well, he says it himself in the response to the nobleman who came back. He says himself, I was afraid because you were a demanding man, and you harvest where you did not plant. Clearly he was afraid of the master, and so it's meant to suggest that what can happen if we have a wrong-headed idea of who the master is, of who God is, and in particular of what happens when we forget the truth that he is our Father and we are his sons and daughters, what can happen? Of course, if we think like this servant, if you think God is like way demanding and pretty much ticked off at our very existence and rolling his eyes at us every time we even try the slightest thing, of course we're going to be afraid of him. But that's not the God of the gospel. It's not the God of the Bible. We can't be, Lord, I can't be full of fear, because fear paralyzes, it immobilizes me, and leads to this indolence and poor choices, and discourages me from real initiatives, lest I make mistakes. It's not that kind of tyrant image of God is not the God of the gospel. It's not the God of Jesus Christ. It's not the God of the Blessed Virgin Mary. She said it so wonderfully. He has done great things for me. Holy is his name. And he has done great things for you. Now we have to make his name holy by developing all those talents that he has given us. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.